Hello, welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be looking at the RC4WD 360L excavator, which I bought from RC Bits here in the UK. I've also got bought with it at the same time the excavator Light System, the Volvo decal set, and the warning amber light beacon. Today I'm going to be looking at or trying to find out how to fit the light system to the excavator. Okay, well, I've turned the excavator round so that I can remove the 4 Allen bolts underneath the engine casing here. There's one here, one at the back, which is a little bit more difficult to get to, one here at the front, and another one under there. So there are 4 to remove altogether, and not forgetting to remove the nut on the bottom of the guardrail. I've taken the bolts out already, and I'm just going to move the guardrail. With the engine casing removed, now we can get to the hole for the LED in front of the excavator. The next thing to do is to remove 2 more screws this side of the excavator underneath the cab. There are 2 more Allen screws here to remove, and once they're removed, you gently rock the cab backwards and forwards, and that comes off, and then we can get to the other hole for the other front LED. I've removed the screws out of this rear part of the engine casing. Just move it to one side, and that will give us access to the rear lights in there, one of which is located behind the hydraulic tank, which will just lift up out of the way when we need to fit the new LEDs for the rear lights in the rear. Inside the packet, as well as the string of LEDs, we have 2 round rubber grommets, 2 plastic clamps. Those are for the front LEDs. These ones are for the rear, which go in the holes in there, and there's 2 tiny little grub screws. Be careful not to lose those, and those actually go down through the top of the working lights to clamp the LED into the working light on the arm. And the first thing I'm going to do is just test the LEDs before I fit them all. I'm presuming that the ones with the red heat shrink on are the 2 rear lights. We have actually got 2 extra lights on here, because there's 2 in the front and 2 working lights, which I presume are those 4, and we've got 2 extra ones. I think the guards that go on top of the roof on the cab come with 2 extra working lights. I don't know what I'm going to do with these yet, but I'm going to plug them into a spare channel in the receiver, and just fire them up and just make sure they're all working before I fit them. Right, I'm just having a look at the main electrical circuit for the excavator, and it looks like I want to put it on a single switch. I don't want to use the three-way switches. Switch A up here is for the pump. There's two more three-way switches. At some stage I might put a sound kit in there, so I might want to use one of those switches. So at the moment I think I'm going to put the just the light kit on switch D and go from there. According to the wiring diagram, the receiver is channel 8 for the light, which is rocker switch D, and there's a program light on channel 7, which is C. I don't really know which one to go from now, because I'm going to put the rotating light on as well, so I just might use that for switch D and switch C, the three-way switch, for the lighting. So instead of channel 8, I want to go into channel 7, and that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down. That is the fifth set of pins down in the receiver. So I think I'm going to have to get some extra light in here just so I can see what's going on. Okay, let's pop that in. Right, that should be it. Let's power on the radio. And there we have the lights. Two ready LEDs for the rear. Two extra ones, which I don't know what we're going to do with yet, and two for the working light and two for the front of the machine. Well, I'm just separating the wires carefully, so there's enough room to fit the LEDs in each side. There is a channel, I don't know if you can see from there, which the wire will go inside. Right, the stoppers go in, I presume, with a flat side in, so you can actually pull them back out once they're in. Right, that's one in. Just carefully lift the hydraulic tank out, just to give us enough room just to pop the LED in the hole. carefully pop the hydraulic tank back in its mounting. That's fine. Just running the cable down in the track, in the cutout in there. I think I'm going to put a little bit of tape over that just to keep it in out the way, and especially where the battery sits in there as well. So I'll just get a bit of tape and tape that up. Right, those are in nice. I think what I'll do now is fit the red lenses to the rear lights, and then that's the rear end done. Right, I've got the rear lenses and the two white lenses for the front to the excavator. I'll just spin it round, pop these in. I might actually just put a tiny little bit of glue on there just in case they try to pop out later. But that's the rear lights fitted in. Just fire them up so you can see. And there we have one pair of rear lights. I hope you can still see everything okay. The light keeps going and coming back. But anyway, we'll press on. I've separated the two shorter lights that were together. The four here, they're actually longer, so I'm going to use those to run up through into the work light. Well, just two of them, and the other two I think I'll just probably fold away and put them under the cab out the way until I decide what I'm going to do with them. There is an optional guard that you can buy from RC4WD, which is a set of covers which go over the top of the cab, and a protective one which goes across the front of the screen. These are protective bars, and I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, that they come with two other lights, so perhaps that's what the other LEDs are for. Don't know at the moment, but I'll fold them up under there and we'll go from there. I've just been thinking that I don't really want these wires here. When I run the lights up through to here, it's not going to look very nice with the wires coming up through here, really. I did think of cutting the wires and rejoining them and putting some heat shrink on, so I'd have heat shrink up there and it'd look sort of better. But what I've just thought of is I've got some expanding covering, sleeving to go over wiring, which you pass the wire, push it together and push the wire through, and then when it comes back it shrinks back down. And looking at the hole in there in the clamp, it looks like hopefully that should slot in there nice, and then yeah, that's going to be a lot better. If I run those up through there and down, then we're not going to have the nasty wires showing, not that they're nasty, but the look of the wires up the excavator arm. Right, that's for those. I think what I'm going to do is also just put a piece of sleeving on here just to protect it. There's nothing really moving this side. The other side, underneath the engine cowling, the wire runs underneath for the other LED, actually goes underneath the pump motor. So I'm going to have to be really careful there and probably tape it down to the base so that it doesn't lift up and catch the outside of the outrunner motor. So I'll just cut this piece off and start threading it through. There we are. And I'll just put a little piece of tape around there just to stop it unraveling. Or I might see if I've got a piece of heat shrink which will go on there and just heat shrink that round. Anyway, I'll just have a look and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm back. I found a nice tight piece of heat shrink to go over there just to keep all that together. Done that side, and I've also run the LED round through under the other side, underneath the outrunner motor for the pump. I'm just going to pop these LEDs in now. That's the first one. These clamps go in then, and then just push in over the top just to keep the LED in place, like so. I just spin this round. Hopefully you can still see what's going on. Here's the other one coming out underneath the outrunner motor. I will put some tape on there in a second once I get this LED in. That's that one in place. Pop the clamp on the top. Like so. Then I've run the wire out round in there, and all that can come underneath and just go in the cab, underneath the cab area. Just want to get that down out of the way to stop it rubbing that motor. That's fine. And I'll just put a piece of gaffer tape over there just to hold that down in place. Alright, I've found some duct tape which I'm just going to put across that wire so it doesn't get caught under the outrunner motor when the pump's running. I'll just keep it across to this side so it's got maximum clearance on there. Looks good. while you've been away, as you can see, we've moved locations, moved somewhere into a different room where we've got better light, and as you can see, I've now installed the lights up into the arm the same way as I did the ones into the front. I put some of the expanding sleeve on there with some heat shrink on either end, and put that through, put it through the clamps, and I think you'll agree it does look a lot better than having the cables through there. I've done that. I've put the two spare ones underneath, I've just folded them underneath the cab, and I've put some expanding sleeve around there as well, and cable tied that round each individual LED in there, just to stop it vibrating so it doesn't damage the LEDs if I need to fit them on top of the cab later. I suppose the next thing to do is to fire it up and show you the LEDs in action. I'll just pop this top back on. Just temporarily put that back on. Battery in there temporary, and there we go. Hopefully you can see the lights on there. And there we have it. The next job I'm going to look at is the rotating light. I haven't actually decided where I'm going to fit this yet. I've seen some people actually drill through this plate here, and so I've seen it mounted here, up on a pole, and actually through the cab roof, which I don't like putting it through the cab roof. But if you've got any suggestions, please feel free to message me below and leave any comments there. I'll leave a link in the top to RC Bits, where I bought this from in the UK. Martin, excellent guy, very helpful, and also I'll leave a link to RC4WD. Thanks for watching, hope to see you again. Bye for now.